38 years ago today, I drove down this street for the first time in an old Jeep pickup truck with everything I owned in it. And I was looking for a home where I could learn to take care of myself when the world fell apart. And maybe I was a little early, we'll see. And I found it about in that same month, in late March of 1972. I settled on 20 acres in Sam's Valley, a little bit out of Gold Hill. Spent the 70s there and outside of Butte Falls, learning how to take care of myself. I left the valley in the early 80s for almost 3 years to get an education in broadcast journalism, and I came back to take the operations and production manager job at KSYS, the precursor to Southern Oregon Public Television, just a couple blocks away. That got me involved in politics, local politics, and in 1986, I ran successfully for Jackson County Commissioner. We spent 4 years in the courthouse. And those of you who were here then, who was here in the late 80s in this room? About half. Yeah. If you were here in the late 80s, you know it was a difficult time, really tumultuous time for the county. The spotted owl was listed as an endangered species, and almost overnight, the economy of this valley was turned upside down. Both government funding, private jobs, thousands of people lost their jobs in a very short period of time. Very difficult time. And in a lot of ways, it was different than today. But in one important way, it was very much the same as today. There were people then who wanted to continue what we had been doing for almost since World War II, which is cut old growth forest as fast as we could and make as much money as we could, as quickly as we could. And what I said as commissioner back then was, the next 10 years are not going to be like the last 10 years. What we have to do is not going to be what we've been doing. It was obvious, and it was right, and it happened. And we did the best that we could, finding employment for people and moving forward with some success. I think exactly the same is true right now. We can't do for the next 10 years what we've been doing for the last 10 or 20 years. I think that's very clear. And it happens that we live in a place, in a valley, that has more going for it, for adapting to change, than any place I can think of in the country. And because of that, it is a real privilege to stand here today and say that I'm a candidate for Jackson County Commissioner, position number 1. All right. We should really have the election in this room. I use the word privilege, and I really mean it. And all you have to do to understand how that would be is to look around at what we've got here, what we have in this valley, the assets that we have. We have good, reliable public services and programs. We have an airport that connects us to the entire world. We've got pretty good public infrastructure, very good public infrastructure. We have a vital business community of all sizes, business and commercial community. We have a world-class salmon and steelhead running river right through the middle of this valley. We've got forest lands and recreational lands that won't quit. We've got a first-class medical community. We've got an excellent university and community college. We've got more recreational and cultural opportunities than some whole states have. And we've got all of that, and I'm sure more. And beyond all that, that doesn't even mention the main resource we have to adapt to a good future in this county, and that's our civic sector. We have thousands of people working in hundreds of nonprofit, grassroots, community, in some cases business organizations, on all kinds of projects to make this a better place to live. And that's why I'm so excited. That's why it feels like a privilege to run for this office. And that's where county government needs to step up and take a more active role. I want that phone to. I want to be very clear that there is a baseline responsibility and duty of county government. and that is to provide quality, cost-efficient basic services as efficiently as they can, and to safeguard, to use the taxpayers' money really well. We happen to be in this almost unique situation of having a pretty large cash reserve in the bank in Jackson County, and I think the professional administration of the county deserves big credit for that. I think we have to do what we can to preserve and, if possible, grow that reserve because of what's coming. There are going to be increased demands. We're not going to be able to look reliably to the federal government for timber receipts. And if we're going to meet those demands without asking taxpayers for more taxes, we have to guard and steward that reserve very well, and I plan to do that. If we spend any reserve money, it has to be for very clear and compelling purposes. So that's the baseline responsibility of county commissioners. I think because of the nature of the times, we have to do something more. I think county government, it's time for county government to take a role as a partner, supporter, connector, lubricant for all of those civic sector activities, or the best civic sector activities going on in the county. And I'll tell you that 4 areas that I'm going to focus on as a county commissioner where I think that work is going on, sometimes under the radar, sometimes obviously, where county government could be a big assist. The first one is job development that is based really in a disciplined way on locally owned enterprise, on buying local, on patronizing local. It happens that the county is a very large organization. It's one of the very biggest contractors and purchasers around. The county needs to look at its internal business and to every possible extent buy locally, and if it's not right local in the county, buy regionally, and do what it can to keep our dollars in this community. When you do that, more job development and business expansion, taking businesses from 2, 3 employees to 6, 7, 8 employees, becomes a reality and not just a slogan. When money is not siphoned off to Bentonville, Arkansas, or Manhattan, or Beijing, or you name it, when it stays in this community. This isn't perfect. There's different kinds of things. But my direction on economic development will be to be asking local business, what can we do to help you succeed? You know, I think there's some exceptions. I'm very happy that we recruited Amy's Kitchen here. I think it's a responsible company. I think it's doing some good things in the community. So you never say never, but that's where our thrust has to be. I'm noticing that people are really getting that in a big way. Some people have been working on localizing the economy for a long time, but it's really catching fire now. I see somebody from the media here that I talked to this morning who saw some of my platform, and he said, you know, it's looking to me like just about every candidate coming out is talking about that. And I think he was asking me, you know, am I worried somebody's going to steal my thunder? Well, my response to all the candidates talking about that is it's about time.
Yeah.
Now we get to have a conversation over the next few months about how we actually do that and what the trade-offs are to that and what the role of government is in that. That's a great conversation. That's a conversation that's long overdue. So that's number one, a job strategy based on supporting local enterprise. Number 2 is food and water, doing everything we can to support family scale, smaller scale agriculture. When we can support the larger scale agriculture, that's great too. But this really unites people across party lines, across old philosophy. And the best estimate I've seen is 3% of the food we eat locally comes from this valley. The other 97 comes here on great big trucks. Now, if we were El Segundo or Oakland, maybe I can understand that. But look at this valley. Look at the agricultural resources of this valley and tell me that we can't do better than 3%. Again, this isn't perfect. You know, you don't shoot for 100%. That's not realistic. But you put that together with the fact there are so many younger people in this valley who would like to get involved in agriculture, who would like to support a family, even barely, not get wealthy, growing food for us. And I say there are tremendous opportunities out there that the county connect. There are a lot of players with this. Some have to do with the knowledge of farming, the Agriculture Extension Service, master gardeners. A lot has to do with water. We have a challenge. I think this summer, I wouldn't be surprised if a big campaign issue for everybody running for office this year is water.